So today we're going to talk about relationships. I'd like to welcome you to Alchemy Intuitive Arts, and I'd like to say thank you to all my subscribers and my new and returning visitors. I'd like to invite you to like, comment, subscribe, and share. I'm your mystical tour guide to take you on a cosmic trip around the spiritual galaxy. So if that piques your interest, then climb aboard. And with that said, let's get into it.
Welcome to Alchemy Intuitive Arts for entertainment only. Use your discernment, all rights reserved. Everyone is welcome. Do no harm. Join our community. Thank you.
Relationships with your partner, your spouse, person. I'm going to speak from the standpoint of a male-female relationship. Put the gender how you choose. Gender is your choice, your energy, and how you manifest in your life. I am a female, and I'm going to be talking about males. So I look at this as masculine and feminine energy, and this is a masculine, karmic masculine type of energy. What this is about is that in a relationship, oftentimes we will meet somebody, and a white bird, white snowy egret just landed on the tree. So this is a freaking confirmation. Wow, that was cool. So that's a confirmation. I'll have to look that one up. But I was just in the last video talking about animals and animal medicine and what animals mean. So that's crazy. But anyways, to get back to this video, I'm talking about men and women and how women tend to be the caregivers. Oftentimes in relationships, women are the caregivers, or they're the ones that kind of keep the relationship together. Like, women will continue to try and iterate and do this thing better and that thing better. For example, when I was married, I thought it was important to be the perfect wife, and it is important to do your part in the relationship. So I did all the wifey things. Like, I became like a gourmet cook. I kept the household, and I cooked a lot of the meals, and I made sure they were delicious, special meals, and I decorated the house, and of course I did it all myself with DIY, and I clipped coupons, and I was a mom, and I gave birth to 2 sons. We built a house together, and I had a great job, and I contributed financially to the household. I planned all the vacations. I did surprises for my husband. I would take him on a surprise vacation. I even had a side job as a real estate agent. I could even, bring more money into our household. And in many ways, our relationship was great. But there was something wrong. Something wasn't working, and we were constantly fighting. I just kept trying new things and different things, thinking that was going to fix the relationship. And it just never fixed the relationship. the relationship just never got better. I ended up being the person that ended that relationship. And there's reasons why that relationship ended, but essentially the bottom line was that relationship was not serving me, and it just felt like it was in some kind of an endless loop. And so I went on to other relationships, and I found the same type of thing happening, where I would be the one giving, financially. I would be the one giving emotionally. I would be the one giving, intimacy, encouragement, my energy. And let's not underestimate the power of a female's energy. A female's energy is very powerful. Remember, we give birth, and we are essentially, our womb is a portal for the divine. And so we women bring in humanity. We are the ones that are the only ones capable of bringing life onto this realm, into this 3D plane. We are bringing in new souls through our womb via the intimacy, the energy that we share with a male. That's a pretty special thing. And that energy is very sacred. And especially if you are a divine feminine, then your energy is very, very sacred. People will want to attach to your energy. And it can be men who want to attach to your energy, or it could be females who want to attach to your energy, or it can be females that want to destroy you because of your energy. Those are karmic females, or karmic males that want to destroy you and steal your energy. There's all kind of iterations of it, but essentially people will want to harvest your energy if you're a high vibrational female. I've found myself in a number of relationships, and some of them have been karmic. And what I've learned is that I was always the person that had to leave the relationship. The man would never leave. And why would he leave? Why would he leave? I was cooking for him. Sometimes I did his laundry. I was cleaning for him. I was, providing intimacy. Oftentimes we were sharing a household together. I could have been a provider, or I was a provider. In a couple instances, I brought a child through on behalf of that individual. I have 3 children. And in all instances, I found out that even though I would try this and that and this and that, thinking that, maybe I can help with this relationship, and maybe we can get it on a better path, and it's going to be more healthy, and we're going to be happy together, I realized in the end that I cannot do anything for anybody else. They have to do it for themselves. And so a woman will always have to leave a man in most instances. Not in all instances, but I would say in the majority of instances. Because why would a man leave? They have no reason to. They get all this service. They get all this energy. They might get abundance. They might get intimacy. They might get a chicken dinner. They might get, fun, or whatever it is. Whatever it is that they're getting, they can also go somewhere else and get some more there. So it doesn't make sense that they're going to leave. They're going to go around and gather energy, just like, the Seven of Cups card in the tarot. It's options. That always reminds me of men who are playboys, who go to different women and fill their cup. And so why would they leave? They have no reason to leave if they can get this thing from this woman and that thing from that woman and this thing from that woman and this thing from the other woman. It doesn't make any sense to them and their nature, where they have less attachment to women than a woman does to a man. Typically when a woman attaches to a male, is she's embodying her divine feminine, her feminine energy. She's going to attach to a male because that is her, primordial need to bond and to create another human. And so she's going to attach, and her expectation is that the male is going to provide, he's going to protect, and he's going to do all these things to, build that bond, that safe place for them to have and propagate the species. And if that doesn't happen, then the woman will fall into her masculine energy, and she will begin to express in a way that is masculine. She will, begin to do things and behave out of that side of herself. She will begin to try and fix the relationship, and she will continue to try, and some people will continue on for years and years and years thinking that eventually it's going to get better and that male is going to come around, and they never do, because they have no incentive to come around and to be with just that situation. Maybe it's hardwired, I'm not sure, but it is up to a woman. If their relationship is not serving them, it is up to the female to leave the relationship. And again, I'm telling you, put the gender how you choose. If you express in more from your feminine side, feminine energy, you may fall into this codependent behavior. And if you express in the masculine energy, then you're going to fall into that. With that said, keep that in mind when you're dealing with your relationships, and recognize the energy of the male and the female, and that women have to take ownership of their happiness, their will, and express their will in their relationships. Super important that you do that, otherwise you could stay in a relationship and it could even become dangerous. It could become a relationship of DV or SA. I am speaking from personal knowledge. Sorry, there's some kids out here playing right in front of my vehicle. you can find yourself falling into a situation where you may have to take significant measures to free yourself from a situation. And this could happen, like I said, to men too. You know, some people say if you're a woman expressing in a more masculine tone, then you're going to attract a man who expresses in a more feminine tone, you know, because people are looking to be like a yin and a yang kind of energy to each other, to balance each other. And that's okay if your relationship is healthy. But if you're finding that the relationship is not healthy and somebody is resentful of you and they want to harm you either emotionally, spiritually, religiously, and I use spiritually different from religiously because religiously comes from religious dogma or lack of religion giving you dogma about that, or financially, emotionally, physically, spiritually, religiously, financially, any of these ways, then if you are finding that this type of oppression is occurring to you, then it is time for you to remove yourself from the relationship. And sometimes you may need to take significant moves. You know, when I dealt with this issue, I thought about how long did it take me to get into this relationship? Well, I was in a particular relationship for a few years. So, you know, it didn't surprise me that it took years for me to heal from that relationship. That didn't mean that I couldn't go on, but I had to realize that I could not fix this person. I could not help this person. This was their own personal choice that they had to make. And especially if you're dealing with somebody with an addiction, then, you know, it's going to be impossible. If somebody is not motivated to change, then the relationship is not going to change. I encourage you to think about that in your own relationship and think about what you may need to do. You may need to take significant measures sometimes to free yourself from a relationship. You may have to do things that you normally wouldn't do. You may lose money. You may lose friends, you may lose family, whatever it is, that significant things could happen for you to be able to free yourself of a bad relationship. But the only way that you can build back better is for you to take that loss and then rebuild your foundation again. So with that said, peace, love. Thank you.